course, another intense intro for Making Intestines. I'm Kent. I'm part of the Making the Drop Bears B-Movie in Brisbane meetup. Last time we had a look at tutorial on repainting fake limbs and what fake blood to use, which was pretty much just Citadel's fake blood paint. Blood for the blood gods. Today we're having a look at making intestines. Now there's quite a few videos on YouTube that I watched and then I just decided to sort of amalgamate it all together and do my own thing. So first off, I used packaging peanuts to try and get some flexibility to the finished intestines. I didn't have any lying around, so I just bought a bag from the office supply store, which is Officeworks. The group then threaded the peanuts through 0.8mm electrical insulated copper wire, as this could keep the desired shape, flexibility and strength that we really wanted. From here we used red tissue paper cut into strips and made a paper mache mix with about 40% craft or wood glue and 60% water. Then with an old brush painted this mix onto the strips of tissue paper and wrapped them around the peanuts. Tissue paper is quite flexible but fragile, so you need about 3 to 5 layers. You could use newspaper or regular paper, which would make it stronger, but then might not have the same flexibility, while tissue paper is quite thin. Also, you can see once all the coats are on, the tissue paper holds up being moved around fairly well, which I'll show you later. You don't have to use red paper, as you want to totally coat the intestines with paint, which will cover this up. After I'd made the intestines, I actually went to the hardware store and saw these polyurethane rods. So you may want to try these instead of the peanuts. Not sure what the flexibility would be like, and it probably just comes out very curved. But you know, worth a try if you want to give it a go. So here's the intestines just drying. You can see the one on the left shrunk quite a bit because too much mix. One on the right, not enough layers, and has started to crack. But here they are now, and you can see how much you can curve them and actually make them quite flexible if you get enough layers of the tissue paper on. So we just used basic acrylic paints for the base coat, then followed by a Citadel blood paint, and then gloss and matte finish for the outer coats to help build strength. I think if I did it again, use spray paint, like a red spray paint, just go all over the top of the tissue paper as your base coat. And I'd probably do a few layers of that or then add to that, because you can't get enough paint. But then you want to give it a wash. Now I went over washes in my last video. Basically, once you've got the base paint on, you get a big fat brush, like a round brush or a wash brush, and get like a black wash. We're using Citadel's Nulon oil and just putting that onto the intestines. And you can see it here, it's getting into all of the cracks and just making them really dark, and it's just giving it a lot of texture. Then you want to do some dry brushing. Now for our dry brushing, what we did is sort of like what I did here with this limb, is I got red and just mixed some white in with it to get a brighter sort of pinky color, and then like this guy is doing with his miniature, just go over the top of the intestines, so it's just picking up the high parts of the intestines. So you want to wipe off as much of the paint as possible, like he's doing here. He's wiping it to the side and then just highlighting the high parts of the intestines. So once you've done the wash and dry brush, it's time for the coat of blood paint and then a varnish or gloss sort of coat as well. So first of all, the blood paint, just put that over the intestines. You can bunch it up, but I just did a quick general coat over the top of everything, probably because I didn't want to go through too many tubs of blood paint. So it just gives it a sort of glossy red transparent look, and so it looks a bit bloody. If you want to add pus, then once you've done that, add the Nurgle's rot paint. That's a technical as well. Then follow that up with gloss spray or a few coats of varnish or gloss. I'd go a few coats of gloss, and that's going to make it stronger. So when you try and bend it, it's going to all stay together, otherwise it is going to crack. And you can see here as I'm bending it, it just cracks in one of the corners, just not enough coats of paint and gloss. So I'll have to go back over that. Some of the bits I also had to fix up with the hot glue gun as I went, and then I just painted over the top. But you can really see the detail of the wash. So there's the black wash in the dark creviced areas, and then sort of a lighter dry brush up in the top areas, and it gives it a nice texture. And then it kind of looks bloody with the blood paint put over the top of that. This one here, we put the peanuts in sideways as well as straight, just to see what effect it would have. You can sort of see the crevices of the peanuts and where they were. It's an interesting effect, something you might want to try. So that's how the meetup group made our intestines, but as you can see on YouTube, there's lots of different ways that you can do it. I think it really depends that if you're going to have a dry shoot like we are, where we're going to add a lot of the blood effects in post, just because we're shooting inside a church, compared to other shoots where you want to throw a lot of fake blood around and just have a lot of fun. So I want mine to look as bloody as possible, but be totally dry at the same time. So it's really up to you. If you are in the Brisbane region of Australia and you would like to join us, then you can. Over at Meetup, we're making a B-movie Brisbane, easy to find. Also, you can support or just take a look at our posts on Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/dropbears. A lot coming up. We're doing a few more tutorials, looking at how we made our costume, making a mask from scratch, and that includes like the head mold to put the clay mask over, because I made that instead of buying one, because it's $180. So that's all coming up. I got a new tripod and mic, so hopefully I can get actual better video content going as well. I'm just starting out here, so we'll see how we go. And the cat's meowing at me again, right on time. Alright, until next time. Oh no, what happened to my voice? Work it. Yeah. Let's go. That's what you want. Drop bears. What you want. Oh, baby.